is you might not be entirely clear on who the Permanent Secretary of the Department for Science, Innovation and Technology really is. But what that means is I'm the civil servant, the official, leading the department that we think has a huge role to play in making all of you successful. I've had a really privileged career. Recently, I've got to see the heart of that machine, how government really works from the inside. But before that, for a long time, I was in the private sector. So I've had a really privileged opportunity to kind of see the movie from both perspectives. And that's made me, personally, really passionate about increasing the interchange of ideas and people between the public and private sectors. It's only by government really understanding you and you understanding government that we'll be able to partner together to make change happen. So if you give me a stage, and this is some stage, I'm afraid that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to talk about what it's really like inside government, the things that keep us awake at night, and how that influences everything that you do. So I thought about maybe discussing the incredible opportunities for the implementation of technology, including AI, in the public sector. I mean, enormous opportunity to improve public services, save money, and transform lives. But actually, that's not so different from what many of you do in your own lives and businesses. So I wanted to go a bit further towards the belly of the beast, towards where policy decisions get made, and where we really set the operating system that everyone else builds off to create the incredible technology economy that we have in the UK. So thinking about that world of policy making, what are the things that keep me awake at night? I've got three, and I'm going to talk them through. The first one is that we operate in an incredibly complex policy environment. And I choose the word complex advisedly, because if I'm honest, complicated isn't really a problem for government. We kind of eat complicated problems for breakfast. In my career in government, even in the just few years I've been there, I've been part of schemes to get millions of grants out to businesses during COVID, or to support every family in the UK with their energy bills. These are really, really hard things, and we do hard things well. But complex is a different matter. The science and technology system across the UK is a living, breathing animal, and it's hard to manage and handle. I think people often imagine that sort of strategy or policy is a chessboard. It's defined, it's two-dimensional, you select and move your pieces. And I've started to talk about my job as being, it's not looking at a chessboard, it's more like looking at a Rubik's Cube. It's a problem with many dimensions, and it's not static, it moves under your hands as you're trying to make policy to manage it. And the more I've reflected on it, I don't think it is actually a Rubik's Cube, it's a Rubik's hypercube, because we're dealing with so many different dimensions. And I wanted to just talk you through some of the ways that I think about that, and the issues that we're trying to grapple with, as we try to define and break down the challenge of making brilliant policy to support the tech economy. And the first one is, if I look back, perhaps 15, 10 years in public policy making, it felt like the way that government interfaced with business was really well organised by thinking about sectors. So we have some people in the Department for Transport, and they can talk to people who do transport. We have some people in whatever the current iteration of the Department for Business is, and they're talking to people who work in professional services, and Treasury are talking to financial services, and sectors help us organise and manage the way that we interface with business. What I think is increasingly clear is that just isn't a very helpful concept for lots of the things that we're trying to do. The complexity and overlap between those sectors is ever growing. Until recently, we had a department that was responsible for, in its name, looking after the digital sector in the UK. And I increasingly think the idea, the very concept of a digital sector in the UK, doesn't really make sense when you think about it. Everything is digital. The sectors are increasingly blurry. So as I look at the Rubik's Cube from that dimension, I see the colours shifting, blurring. Another dimension then, you think, okay, sectors, that's got some challenges, is a way of looking at this problem. How about I try technologies? And we definitely do that. So one of the first things we did after the creation of the department just over 6 months ago is publish our priority technologies in the UK. So we talk about semiconductors, quantum, future telecoms, engineering, biology, and of course AI, as critical areas of focus to build the foundations of a tech-enabled economy. But even within those five, we've already simplified the problem massively, right, to get to that list. Even within those five, the boundaries are not clear. And in fact, these technologies are converging and overlapping with each other. If you're trying to develop an incredible solution in engineering biology, you will inevitably be reliant on powerful AI to help you. You will probably be using semiconductors as part of our future manufacturing processes, or quantum sensors to observe what's happening in the systems you create. So even when we look at the technology dimension of the cube, we're dealing with interface and complexity. And that's even before you get into another really important dimension, which is making sure that we're operating at each stage of the funnel. So what I love about my job is you're operating right from the most discovery-driven parts of the science system, where exploratory research is solving problems that we didn't even know we had, right through to truly scaling global companies having an incredible impact on the world. And we need to operate at every stage in that funnel, avoid the valley of death that people often talk about. But you need different tools, there are different stakeholders, different issues as you go through that journey. So you start to see that multi-dimensional cube that we're building as we talk about policy. But that isn't actually that helpful, because it's too complex to really manage and explain. So I think there's two things that we've already done that really help manage this issue of complexity, but there's undoubtedly going to be a lot more to do. The first is actually the creation of the Department for Science, Innovation and Technology. For the first time, we've got in one place in government people who can look at the whole of that cube in one place and try to understand the system and the way it interacts. The second is, alongside publishing the priority technologies that I talked about earlier, we also published for the first time in the UK an integrated science and technology strategy, the Science and Technology Framework. Now, I try not to give homework from these kind of talks, but you might want to look up the Science and Technology Framework if you haven't come across it already, because it explains government's approach to building the science and technology superpower in the UK. And what we've done is talked about the 10 levers that we need to act on to make this a success. So that includes everything from infrastructure through to R&D spending, skills, regulation, and so on. And while that doesn't make the problem of complexity go away, it provides us with much needed clarity. Because as I think about our role in dealing with that complexity, clarity, I think, is what we need to reach for. Because that helps with that understanding of what we're trying to do and how it links in to what you're trying to do. So for the first thing that keeps me awake at night is that complex, moving, hypercube, and complexity. The second one is dynamism. The system we operate on is dynamic. You might say, well, sorry, that's part of complexity, but I think it deserves a double click. And I choose the word advisedly. You often hear the word volatility used to describe the modern economy. But volatility doesn't capture what I think is a really important aspect of this, which is the incredible scale of opportunity. Change can be amazing, but change is a huge challenge for government. Not for our government, not for any particular government, but for government in general. And I want to just kind of explain two particular reasons why change is the thing that makes things difficult. And the first really goes back to understanding what businesses want from us. I've spent a huge flexibility. So please don't always be changing regulations. Give me some certainty out into the future. Please don't keep reinventing new schemes and new ideas. Take the schemes that you have and give them long-term funding so that I can plan on that basis. A good policy is often stable, but stable policy won't do in a fast-moving technology environment. We need to provide enough stability to let businesses and others plan on the basis of what we do, but enough flexibility and agility to move with the times. So that's the first reason why I think change is a really big challenge. The second is actually what it means for people and skills. If we're going to do the kind of really high-quality work that means setting policy now, particularly if it's going into legislation that's going to be fit for multiple years in the future, that's what we need to do. That is the challenge that we face. Then we need really deep understanding and expertise. And that's hard, because not only are we operating across that giant Rubik's cube that I talked about, so we need to have understanding and expertise, not just in one cell of the cube, but in every cell of the cube. But also that the cube is moving under us, so we're constantly needing to update that expertise to try to stay close to the cutting edge. That's really hard. And of course, you've also got to do that within the confines of a public sector, people and pay model. So I think the answer to that is interchange. It's making sure that we can listen to people outside, but also really bring them directly into the system. And that's why the department has made secondments and our expert exchange program such a big part of what we do, trying to make sure that we create that dynamic skills system by exchanging people and ideas. But it's not just that. Sometimes we have to go even further, and actually just some classic learnings from companies like many of yours on how to get things done still apply just as much in the public sector as they do in the private sector. So a really expert, multifunctional team with a clear goal could do a lot. I think we've really seen that work effectively in the public sector. The best example actually is probably the vaccines task force from during COVID, which I had the privilege to observe up close, where a really expert, multifunctional, focused team achieved an incredible result for the country. So how can we replicate that feeling? Well, at the moment, with the AI Frontier task force, that's exactly what we're doing. We're bringing in genuinely leading experts directly into government to work in a focused team on challenges around AI safety. And I think that model has a huge amount of potential as we try to build expertise and agility into our model in order to manage this dynamic system that isn't just changing now, it's going to be ever-changing for the whole of our lives as policymakers. So that's the first two challenges then, complexity and the dynamic nature of the system that we're operating. The third one, for me, is around fragmentation. Now, I know a lot of discussion over the last few days has turned on this fulcrum of, is AI going to save the world first, or is AI going to destroy the world first? And while that's definitely an important and interesting question, the dynamic is very familiar. Almost every major technological change, every foundational technology is, by its nature, a mix of incredible opportunity and really challenging risk. And we see that across everything that we do. And one of the challenges of being in government is you can't sort of exit a market segment. You can't say, oh, this is like beyond my risk appetite, I'm not getting involved in it. In fact, government's job is to run towards the fire. Wherever the biggest fire is, that's where we need to be. So there's no opting out here. We have to deal with the fact that almost everything we do comes with huge challenge, huge risk, but also world-changing, incredible opportunity. We need to be able to embrace the opportunity while managing the risk. And that applies to AI, but it also applies to semiconductors, where we have resilience risks to deal with, or to work we're doing around the internet and social media, where in the international arena. So countries around the world are all managing this threat and opportunity dynamic in their own different ways, seeking to capture as much share of the opportunity as they can for their own country, while at the same time managing down the threats. And that has a whole series of long-term impacts on the system, and worryingly does drive us towards fragmentation. And that's true of everything from relatively small issues, in comparison, I should say these aren't small on their own, but by comparison to what we might get to, where little changes in exactly how data regulations work make it difficult for data to move between economies. That really matters, and we have to get those data bridges working if we're going to unleash the power of data globally. So those are minor policy differences. At the other end of the scale, we have really big fundamental differences in approach and attitude to major technologies, which over time can lead to fundamental fragmentation of the technology operating systems that underpin the way the world works. So what do you do about this one? Well, certainly no easy solutions, but a few thoughts. The first, extremely parochial and of no interest probably to people other than me, but is, as I look at my organisation that's helping set this operating system for the economy, skills in international work and in security-focused work are really, really vital. I think it's incredibly important for the UK that the Science and Technology Department is a globally literate and security literate department. So that was very much on my list. But in a more macro sense, of course, we can help address these problems through partnerships and diplomacy. We've done a couple of things in that space since the department was created that I'm proud of. The Atlantic Declaration, where we've agreed a series of partnerships with the US on our critical technologies to take forward together. Or the recent news about Associated with Horizon, the programme that helps our researchers participate in international research. Those are definitely moves in the right direction to managing this complex global system. But of course, we want to go even further. And the word here that I've used to describe the direction that I think we need to go in is leadership. And a great example of that is the AI Summit we've got coming up this autumn, where the UK is really seeking to work with others to lead on the issue of AI safety globally. So if I look back into that picture, we're dealing with a complex, dynamic, and oftentimes fragmenting system. That's hard. We think we know what some of the solutions are. We need to do more to give clarity. We need to build more agility. And we need to be prepared to lead. Now, if I think about those words, agility, clarity, leadership, that actually gives me some comfort. Because I don't think that list is that different from the list that many, many leaders around the room, physical or virtual, are dealing with themselves. I think collectively we've got real capability in these areas. And that gives me a huge level of confidence that working together, we can make sure that we build a government that is fit for the incredible and